Been at this for hours. And now for just a little bit of polish, and we'll see. And oh, wow. Look at that. It's a shiny ball. Wait a minute. Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. This is episode 2, maybe 3, of Volcano Power. Yes, in the last episode, we looked at quite the spreadsheet. Alright, so what have we covered thus far? Well, we looked at a massive spreadsheet that I made last time right here, just to get an idea of how much energy is potentially in some of this if we were to convert it to like natural gas. And we started to see, just how much we have over here, depending on different methods and all of that stuff. So we've got some numbers as far as what we could potentially see generated. It's not necessarily the net that you're going to get out of it, because there's a ton of equipment that's going to be needed in order to power the power plant that you'll then use, and it all depends on which direction you go. And as you guys were commenting over here, there's many different directions that we can go with this. The very first step, though, is what I'm going to try to focus on, and then we'll try to add chunks to this over the next couple of episodes. So hopefully, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be, but I think this is just a fun design challenge. I don't know if it's practical. I wouldn't call this thing a tutorial at all, because it's obviously we're in debug mode already. Like, you're not gonna have this many volcanoes. All right, so to put a little framework around what we're trying to do here. In this next video here, I'm just gonna try to get the heat out of our volcano, and then put it into oil to make it into natural gas. Now, there's a couple different ways of doing that, but they're pretty, you make it hot and then it, boom, right? It's not that complicated. However, we could probably come back to that in the future once we have it pre-cooling and see what the rest of the system looks like. Again, there's so many different ways we can go with this. We might circle back around to the same topics to kind of see where we end up. So I think the two things I'm going to try here is A, trying to cool the natural gas back down by maybe creating some steam. That might be one option right there. And the other thing would also be oil, right? Preheating the crude oil. Obviously, the main thing that we have to keep in mind is that gas pumps and liquid pumps, they all have a maximum temperature. That's quite a bit less than all the temperatures we're dealing with here. So we might have to get creative on how we're moving some of this stuff around. I'd like to thank Vilius here, because he found the other volcano that I didn't have. So we got the minor volcano, and this one says volcano. So look at that. I mean, look at how much magma's in that beast right there. All right, so let's look at the properties of this volcano right here. Look at that. 145 kilograms a second. Whoa, that is huge compared to my minor volcano. Matter of fact, I put one over here as well. And this one has different properties. There's a little bit of random number generation on that. I think they have min and maxes, though. At least that's what I've seen in the code that was posted on the forums from the preview of this current build. So, and that's what I've seen thus far. I mean, I guess what I should say is that not all of these volcanoes are going to have the exact same numbers here as what you would see in your game. So let's go ahead and plug it in and see what that number is for the volcano, just because I want to see it. All right, so here's some more ridiculous results. Compared to what we had last time with the best volcano I had in that arrangement right there was 4,700 kilojoules just straight out of that thing. But this one is even bigger at 7,962 kilojoules. Whoa! That ought to do it. That ought to do it all by itself if you can find all of this oil somewhere. Yes, that ought to do it. Holy moly, how in the world would you even extend out that much? What would that even be? Magma, larger volcano, 42.67 natural gas generators? Now, some people were actually talking about comparing this to the polluted water vent here. And as you can see, that's just pumping it out. Or I guess technically, is that could be slush. Do I have a slush? Or am I missing a slush? Oh, man. Oh, you know what? I am missing. Oh, wait. Cool slush geyser. Ha! Found it. Look at that. Polluted water. Oh, this one's only like grams a second, though. Or that's kilograms. Well, different time periods. But look at that. All the way down there at negative 10 degrees Celsius. All right, so what I'm trying to say here is we're probably going to end up with systems that look something like this, but I would think that they'd be more modular rather than just one giant array of generators and fertilizers, synthesizers here. You can see what Neotic here actually made, and that's pretty cool. And there's also people that have been using the doors down here with a little timer or something like that just to drop it through and then use the conveyor system to automatically feed that out. So that's pretty awesome. We might actually be able to use that and make it right into dirt. See, that's another thing that we could do with hot natural gas. All right, so let's explore those 3 things. Stay focused, Brothgar. I know there's a million things you can do in this game. Stay focused. Where are we going to get this going? Let's go ahead and just build it right on up here. We'll just go all the way up and over and right through a hidden little geyser or something. Ah! Found my volcano. Okay, we're just gonna deconstruct all of that. And now, let's go ahead and just turn this into nothing. Boom. Just like that. By the way, that's a very fast way to dig out your entire map if you really wanted to do that. The other trick that somebody was talking about in the comment section was if you use vacuum. That's another good way to clear out the map. I actually used that in order to find a bunch of these different volcanoes. I loaded the map 7 times. As you can see, this is GeoQuest number 8. Just looking for different geysers and volcanoes and stuff to collect them. All right, so that should work pretty good. So let's start this off here. Well, we might as well go big, right? 1 big volcano right there. All right, so let's go ahead and put those numbers into my calculator. Not that it even matters, but we're gonna do it. Next dormancy. 7.2 cycles. Active period. Wow. Okay, that one's pretty dope. So one thing that we didn't account for last time is dormancy. I'm not gonna solve that problem right now, but that is obviously something we'll have to pay attention to if we really wanted to make this accurate. Okay, focus. Keep focusing. Come on. We want to make oil, which we can get from several different sources, right? We can throw it through some of these slicksters from carbon dioxide. Great way to get rid of carbon dioxide. We also got crude oil that's just kind of laying around, so we can just grab that and pump it away. The other thing is we can get it right out of an oil reservoir. Now there was an interesting comment over here that somebody left. Temperature, same temperature. There it is. Okay, so Nate Middleman right here was actually talking about something that was interesting. He said, I did the math, and if you cool down the natural gas generator to negative 20 degrees Celsius and you keep it there, then your polluted water should be able to cool the natural gas down to 120 degrees Celsius, so therefore you can actually pump it away. But here's the really interesting part that I was talking about right here, and that is the polluted water is created at the same temperature as the generator. Apparently he tested and confirmed this right there, so that's pretty awesome. Which makes me think it might be the same thing for this oil reservoir. We'll kind of run this little thing on the side and see what happens with it. 89.1 degrees Celsius, yes. Let's go ahead and just dig some of this out. We're gonna clear the floor, yeah. So that right there is at 90 degrees Celsius. However, the oil reservoir keeps heating up because, it's in a vacuum. So the heat just heats itself. Let's mop this up. And that is still at 90 degrees. Okay, so that's the outlet temperature. You can also see all of the natural gas in there as well. So you have to relieve the pressure. All right, so yes, there's another thing to look at as far as crude oil. Anyhow, 100 degrees Celsius seems like a fairly good number to go with as far as the temperature we're going to feed it. Unless you're talking about coming from like a leaky oil fissure. I mean, look at how hot that is, 321 degrees Celsius. All right, so let's go ahead and put another volcano down. Just 2 of them side by side. You know what? We're gonna test a couple different ways of doing this. Man, look at all that magma. Whoa! I might have a breach if I'm not careful. All right, so let's do some tungsten right. Look at it all. Look at all of that. Alrighty, let's start it off with this one right over here. I think this is like a pretty straightforward way to solve this problem. If we go ahead and do this number, and let's say we have a flow out of here. Where do we want that counterflow to be? I don't know. Let's just see what happens if I cap this off and I throw some crude oil right down here. All right, so here's what I'm curious about right here. If I put crude oil down here and it gets above the temperature that it needs to convert, but it doesn't have anywhere to go to become natural gas. If I can just kind of create a flow. So it comes down here, it picks up enough temperature, but it doesn't convert right away, and then exits out over here. I guess that what that would mean is it would pick up too much heat, so I don't want that to happen. What I really want this to do is that as soon as it can become natural gas, it converts. So I kind of want to flip this over to the other side. Aha, this might work really good. So now when that crude oil has a spot to come in, it also has a place to turn into natural gas. Now I might make that a little bit bigger. Matter of fact, I might actually cap this off just like that. Yeah, I like that. And then if we do this number right here, just like that, I can put a sensor right down here. And I can also put a liquid thingamabobber right there. And I think I'll leave it one tile over just to make sure it doesn't accidentally melt. No. Iron. Come here, iron. There we go. Yeah, something like that. So oil comes in here, starts to heat up. Once it reaches the temperature it needs to turn into natural gas, it'll then vent out below. So once it vents out below, it's going to be hot. So at this point, it's hot. So in order to get the most out of the most heat exchange, you want the heat exchange to be what's called a counterflow situation. So you want the temperatures as far apart as they can be. All right, here we go. Oh, heat exchanger, counterflow. Oh, yes, there we go. Concept tubes, heat exchangers. As if you could pump liquid in at the same time it's coming out. So what you're actually doing is you're pumping in crude oil, right? So kind of if we were to make this into like a big old snake or something like that, right? So we're pumping the crude oil in right next to the hot natural gas as it's going out. What would that look like? Because then we might be able to avoid this whole situation where I was thinking like you might have little chambers, and once it reaches a certain temperature, it then moves to the next spot, and then eventually, you know, its last destination is like right here or something like that. And then the door opens up and it drops down. But we might be able to get completely away from that and then control the rate at which you pump that crude oil through by just however much you're filling it. But what does that look like? Don't know. Natural gas. So maybe this, yeah, just get rid of that. Okay. This is the design challenge part of the thing, right? Where we actually try to make this work. So I don't know exactly how this is going to look, but the point is to figure it out. Okay, here we go. So now I need a path. I basically need to create a path with airflow tiles. How much path? I'm not exactly sure. We'll just kind of have to pump it in and see what happens. Would that even work? I'm thinking like one of those spiral things, right? Where is it? There's usually one of them, and it's like the little oxalite spiral thingamabobber. They're usually, yeah, like that. Just like that. Okay, so how does this look? Hot natural gas, hot natural gas, hot natural gas. Maybe this is a room for hot natural gas. Maybe it needs to make it a little bigger. Or maybe I just make it over here. If I have this gas pump right here, I now add at 125 degrees Celsius. Little thermal sensor that's going to go right inside of there. We'll make it out of gold. We can also add another one, which is going to be pressure. Pressure. Okay, so now all I need is hopefully a vent over here. Probably want some sort of hydro sensor inside of here. And then we're going to want to dig this out. I'm running out of room. All right, how about that? Okay, so liquid comes in here. Maybe we can fill it up and run it all the way up there and then convert that to natural gas, which might flow all the way back down. That would be pretty impressive if this works. No idea if that's going to work. So where am I going to get all my crude oil? Right here. Bing! Yes. There we go. Lots and lots of crude oil. Wow. priming the system. It may not work, but let's just see how this works. You know, I mean, just think of all the crude oil that has to be in here just to get up to there. We might be able to shorten that sucker. Only one way to find out. Let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna deconstruct that. So this metal tile should really be heating up. It's gonna pull a little bit of, energy from the magma, but that's not what we're really worried about right now. That's gonna take a long time, so let's go ahead and just double this sucker up. Maybe even triple. All right, awesome. Okay, so now the crude oil is spilling over. We can see that it's flowing around down here. Since we know that airflow tiles pretty much just kind of do stuff to liquid, then this should work out pretty good. Matter of fact, I might be able to just leave this, or I might want to leave this, as airflow tile right here. That might actually destroy itself. Oh well, too late now. See what happens. So much crude oil. Oh, but now we're getting over the pressure. Interestingly enough, it's still working though. This top vent is like a real champ. It is now pushing the liquid vertical. Awesome. Hey, so we learned a little something there. I mean, those bottom tiles down there are they got too much pressure. But, keep going. I think I've got a better idea. Here we go. So we'll give that another choice. That another choice. Maybe a couple choices. How about that? Break the game. Perfect. No. Keep flowing. You can make it. Just a little bit more. Yes. All right. Here we go. All right. So the automation that I want to set up here, I honestly did not expect that to make it all the way up there, but it did. How cool is that? So if I take this and then I just plug it into the pumps, what I can say is if it's above 10 kilograms, then it'll be on. So what I can do is I can deconstruct some automation wires. Okay, so I'm going to use a NOT gate from that signal. So I'm saying, if 10 kilograms or something is up there, or maybe if just the liquid is up there to begin with, then I don't want to pump anymore. So really, it's only just going to convert as much as it can. And this is working. Okay. Whoa. So, what in the world is... Okay. So petroleum, now 408. We have natural gas over here at 600 degrees. I've got natural gas at 591, but what is it down here? 343. And then this is natural gas at 104. Not a lot. And what about the temperature of the crude oil? Well, I mean, everything's like really hot, so everything's red. But if we look right here, 91 degrees, 88, 81, 82. So it's really not, in this situation, it's really not transferring. It's not doing a lot to heat up this crude oil, just because there's so much of it. So a thermal shift plate at this point would be a fun idea. I'll roll back a couple cycles and we'll try it a little bit different once I don't have so much oil up here, right? Let's just set this to 1. Make it really low. So if this is above, let's say... yeah, you know what? Let's set it real high. We can set it for like 10 kilograms. And let's see what the temperature is like when you get 10 kilograms in there. As long as this is below 125, it'll be on. So we'll kind of watch the status of that. Okay, so now it's a little bit too hot. Oh, that's because the temperature here got too hot. Because that... Whoa! No, it broke my system! Alright, so there was a problem. That was working for a moment. That was kind of cool. Alright, let me just load up a previous cycle here before things went crazy. Alright, so what I want to do is I kind of want to protect this layer right here. So I'm going to get rid of that and that piece, those two. And I'm going to make those abyssite. The other thing is I'm going to try to change this so that it turns off much faster. Ooh, and you know what? Since we're here, let's go ahead and try to do this number real quick with some thermal shift plates. You know what? Diamond is just... Diamonds are, like, perfect, maybe. Don't know if I really want to do a transfer right here, because it's dangerous. You know what? whatever. We're doing it. All the transfer plates. Now that definitely destroyed some temperature. So we're gonna mop that up. Okay, so that needs to be vacuumed to 100 degrees Celsius. Or 370, whatever. Yeah, perfect. Now it's 100 degrees. So, will the counterflow system work? My money's on maybe. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me just mop this up real quick. We're gonna deconstruct this. And I'm also going to do a thermal shift plate right here. Straight out of that thing. So I know that I could hopefully, work the temperature between the two. Speaking of which, this should also be 100°C in here. There we go. Perfect. Crude oil. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint some in here just to make this go a little bit faster. Please go faster. Another thing that we might be able to do here is actually just run the gas along two sides of just one row of crude oil. That might work. That'd be a whole lot less, initial amount of crude oil that you would need to pump in here to begin with. I don't know. It's a fun idea thus far. Curious to see how it's gonna work. Okay, so I really need a liquid cutoff. Otherwise, it's just gonna keep flooding. And that liquid shutoff valve needs to be close by. All right, so there we go. That shut off. Now we can see up here, there's only a little bit of crude oil. 5 kilograms, like 15 or so up there. So that natural gas has then been created. How did we get crude oil over here? So natural gas at this point is staying at 114 degrees Celsius. We've got natural gas up here. Ooh, but it's getting really, really hot. That kind of needs to be cut down because it's just too hot. So we're gonna increase this to 10. See if we can push some of that out of there. Outlet over here. There we go. I think I'm running into a lot of problems with this arrangement. Well, I can tell you, I don't think I know. Yeah, it's just like totally jammed up. Once I got a little bit of petroleum there, ruined my day. Whoa! Let's try this again. I'll just kind of reset a bunch of it. Oh, too hot. Yeah. I like the idea, but the arrangement is not working. So, got to come up with something a little bit better. Delete and try again. Alright, so I kind of like this idea. If I bring in crude oil over here, just kind of drop it down, that'll always try to force itself down to the bottom. At that point, it's down here, it turns to natural gas. And if we flood this down here, pretty much with just crude oil and or petroleum, depending on what happens down there, then I know it won't we won't end up having gas pockets, what you don't really want, because the temperature just is going. You don't really want to have a gas bubble form right down here in that area where you're trying to convert it from a liquid to a gas, and that's because it can just continue to get hotter and hotter, and at that point, it's not doing you any good. I mean, I don't know if it's really hurting you that much if you're doing a counterflow system, but it's really not. Probably means you could be moving more. I don't know exactly. My brain says it probably isn't as good as it could be. I can't confirm or deny if it's correct. It's just like, I just got the blue swirl processing. I'm not sure. Maybe not. There we go. So we'll try to float this up, just like so. And then we'll cap it off right there. And then we'll see what the temperature is on top of that. So, thermal shift plates seem to do a really good job of trying to protect the temperature that was on the. Words are failing me today. This is good stuff. Okay, so we're gonna put some of that there. Holy hotness! It's finding its way through. Maybe that's a bad idea. Right down here. But right there, it's a good idea. Okay, so we'll put the plumbing vent right there. We'll put the little pump up here. It'll probably die, but we'll see what happens. I suppose one thing we could do... Oh! If this doesn't work, we can kind of do like a little trickle system that goes back and forth with the crude oil That way we don't have to like build up a giant column of it, but we can still, I don't know, create more surface area that it would then transfer between the gas and the oil. The only thing is that this arrangement is not a counterflow. Then again, was the last arrangement really a counterflow? No, I guess it wasn't. I don't know if I can do a counterflow system on this. All I have is a parallel. No? Yes? I mean, it's something. Forget it. You know, hot stuff is next to cold stuff, so it should work. Plumbing valve. Yes, tungsten. Yes, in and out. Perfect. Let's try this. And then we can do power to the unit over here. Just like so. And then I need some sort of sensor that's going to allow that to run or not run. So since I don't know what hydro sensor I want right just yet, we'll just put a bunch down there. And we'll see what happens. This will be a NOT gate. I know that. Bink. And you know what? Just because I can, this might actually be a bigger area, because you probably will need more than just one gas. Okay, not probably. You will definitely need more than just one gas pump. But, all right, cool. So I got crude oil all up in here. And then I got petroleum. And then I have natural gas at 567 degrees Celsius. Whoop, oh, what's melting? Liquid shut off. No! Aw, man. But I made that out of, like, tungsten. All right. But hey, it's better to find out here than actually, you know, build this in your base or something. And this arrangement seems much more practical than what we had before. Which is good, and that's kind of how this stuff works anyhow. You start off completely impractical and in the other direction towards practical. At least that's how I see it working. There we go. No, power. We're melting. There we go. Natural gas is now finding its way out. Temperature up here, 245 degrees. So at this point, do we go to steam? Or do you keep running some sort of counterflow-ish system? But look at all that natural gas. Kilograms worth of it. Uh-oh. No, too much natural gas. All right, let's see if this is just a flow problem. Or if I have something else going on here. A couple more of those. Gosh, I don't even know if you could do that, but let's see what happens. You connect it to this. Yep. Perfect. Eat oil! Uh-oh. I'm going to deconstruct you, tile. Yeah, there you go. Huh. This is so weird. Look at this. Look at this weird thing. Petroleum. Temperature. Yeah, look at it. Yes. Oh. I mean, it's a pretty consistent 200 and something degrees up there. You know, I think this is a step in the right direction. We're not quite there yet, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. So now that I've got all of this, huge amount of natural gas, it's at 270 degrees Celsius. I could boil some polluted water. That's a definite possibility. All right, so I only have about 20 minutes or so left in the evening before I have to head off here. So I'm going to continue with this method right here, which is just going to be to try to cool the natural gas down far enough based on the temperature that's coming in from the crude oil. We're going to try to get it down to 120 C. I don't know if it's going to happen, but let's kind of do that snake arrangement over there. All right, so that's about what we had before. All right, something like this. It comes up, and now what I want this to do is to go up and over like that, right? So then when the oil comes back down, it has to kind of, you get an extra tile in there maybe. Well, I guess heat doesn't really, let's see what happens. Yeah, thermal shift plates. Boom. Okay. We're gonna preheat these guys. Yeah, there we go. And then we're just gonna use our pump to pump in right there. Liquid shut off is going to be now over here. A little annoying thing has to keep being moved around all the time. There we go. Magma 2000. We're gonna top off the magma tank down here. Here you go. Boom. Okay, sweet. Man, I'm glad this works now. This is so nice right there. All right, so let's see what difference this makes right here. So now that we're doing this little number, see now in your base you just have the sound of this nice little waterfall in the background and really hot natural gas. I don't think we're going to avoid water cooling at some point here. I mean, you could really just keep building this thing up. Does it work? Yeah, that is. Crude oil is hitting 200 degrees Celsius right there. Actually, this thing's dancing all over the place. What in the world? That seems to be converting. Like, is all this going to flash into gas real quick? Now that I've flooded it. There was like an initial surge. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, there we go. So now that the system has been like flooded for a little bit, the petroleum is starting to hit like its critical temperature and it's just converting over to natural gas. That's a lot of natural gas. All right, well, I'm not really convinced that this is any better than what we had before. I think what we had before was a little bit better. That just seems a little wild. Oh my. Oh, that's gonna make a mess. All right, so for the last little bit here, let's go ahead and work on creating some steam. What temperature do we want to make our steam? Do we really want to make it? We could take a look at the temperatures. I don't think we really want to heat our steam up too hot. Although, I suppose you could. So what would that look like? Well, I think one way of doing that is we could use, you know, like some metal tiles or something like that in a small area. Maybe even do something like this. Yes, maybe. So the natural gas will come up here. It'll then flow across this, heating up those tiles, which are going to have water in them, and that water will then turn into steam. It's probably not going to get hot enough, though, to make steam hot enough to run a steam generator. But you can convert polluted water into clean water. Yeah. That ought to be pretty useful. You know what would be a good way to get dirt out of this? I was just trying to think, how could we actually just automatically pick up the dirt? Here's what we do. Yes, this is a good idea. Maybe. Mechanized airlocks. Yes. Over here, just like so. And we just kind of do this number. So then we take some nice steel or metal tiles right here, and that's going to transfer that heat across. And then if you have a pump down here, just a good old liquid pump, and we keep some liquid inside of that pump, that should be able to actually keep from overheating. So if we just kind of keep, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you keep your little puddle down there, so you put a little switch next to it, it shouldn't get too hot because it's going to be insulated from everything else. And then we run these doors on a timer. Yeah, we run them on a timer and then just open them every once in a while. And then it will pump whatever water is down there back up. Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Ooh. So we can leave it kind of like that. That way the steam can get out. No, deconstruct. You. Yes. Okay, so now the steam can get out. We'll just deal with it as we deal with it. Over here. Oh, you know what we could do? Radiate it. We could probably radiate it with whatever pumps into here. Or whatever is pumping into the system. Yeah, that would probably work. So we just put like a liquid control valve somewhere. And then we bring this in. Liquid pipes. Wow, we can make that out of tungsten? Yeah. Of course, wolframite's probably easier to get your hands on. Not really. I mean, you can get your hands on both of them at that point. And this will condense and kind of preheat some of the water that's coming in. And then we just put a toilet up there. So you basically are peeing on a volcano. I knew it! I knew we'd come back to something ridiculous like that. Hydro sensor. I mean, just imagine if like too much steam got in that pipe while you were on the toilet. That'd be terrible. I mean, think of the backfire. I don't know. It's quite late at the moment. I'm thinking of some weird stuff. All right, here we go. Yeah, yep. I'm liking this. This is good. We'll just put a toilet up there just to kind of simulate it with a pump next to it. Yes. I suppose want to pump that water out somewhere, so deconstruct that, or just make that mesh or whatever. You get the idea at this point, right? We've all been playing this game for a while. Well, maybe not all of us, but long enough to understand what's going on there. Bum, bum, bum. Do, 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 do. Polluted water. It's called dirty, isn't it? No. Yeah, it is. Dirt. Water. So we'll just bring that in at whatever temperature. And probably need to do this number 2. It's getting complicated again. Shut off valve. Oh, par for the course. Here we go. Automation. Above that, not that or something. There we go. This is above 10 kilograms. Then it pumps and that shuts off. Beautiful. Alrighty. Alright, so let's go ahead and prime this system. Not even sure I know what temperature it is. What temperature is that? 40 degrees. Not bad. Yeah, that's working. I guess the question is now. Ooh, I probably need... Oh, I guess I didn't put it down here. Oh well. What I was looking to put down here was one of these arm thingamabobbers, sweeper guys, down here to automatically pick up the dirt, which I guess I didn't account for that space. Yeah. You know what? It looks like it isn't that hard to incorporate. If I deconstruct that, and then do that, take that video game. But now, up here, I do need a hydro sensor that turns that pump off. I don't think, not just this one. So if we look at the automation, it'll be like this. Okay. Yeah, like this. And this is, if this is above 150, then it'll turn off. How about that? Or below. How about that? Okay, there we go. Well, of course, that's not going to be even the entire time. But then again, the temperature isn't going to be even all the way up. Interesting. Oh, well, whatever. We can play around with the arrangement forever, right? I don't have time for all of that. Here we go. Thermal shift plates. No. Plumbing. Here we go. Let's bring in and make sure that we're doing this number right there. Probably still want to have the shut-off valve regardless. So let's deconstruct this real quick. And let's put a hydro sensor right there. Let's see what happens if we do that. All right, let's give this a try. See what happens. I'm pumping in a lot of crude oil at this time. Make sure that this is a vacuum up top. Not with that temperature, we just don't care. It's just gonna be a vacuum. It's still a random bit of chlorine floating around in there. Hopefully that'll get pushed out of the way. Nope. It's definitely causing a problem. All right, there we go. This might need to be wider than just one in order for gases to move past each other, because you get that gas lock, and that's what happened to me right there. Which now means the temperature that's going to be moving past here might be too hot. Oh, look at the heat's trying to make it past. 70, 80. That right there is 200. Too hot once again. All right. So here's what we can do. All right. Since obviously there's a certain amount of cooling capacity you need, which I don't have, what I can do is really just cut off the flow of natural gas. This will be loaded with natural gas, lots and lots of it down here, which is fine because it's collecting that thermal energy. And then once it reaches a cool enough temperature up here in order for it to pass through, then I can open it back up and bring in more natural gas. So what I do right here will just be a thermal sensor to an automation wire for this door. So if that's above 123 degrees, then it's going to be closed. So what this really doesn't account for down here is I don't have a way to pump more polluted water in here. These really need to be like shut-off valves. More complicated! Every time. In, out, out, out. Why? How hot did that get? Melting point. 3,000 degrees Celsius. You can't tell me you got over that. Oh, okay, so now we need one of these for each spot. And then automation for each one of those. Which means that pump can just pump. So let's set these to below 10. I'm gonna go ahead and mop this stuff clean. Why is nobody pumping? Oh boy, because there's no pipes. Yep, that to that, to that, to that, to that, to that, to that, to that. There's a good chance that those might actually melt down. Like a very good chance. Huh. Wow, that let a lot of natural gas in very fast. Whoa. Like a spring. Wow, and it steamed out. Okay. Whoa. I mean, minus the problem that I thought was going to happen there with the liquid shutoff valves destroying themselves. That is working, actually. So this chamber here would just need to be redesigned a little bit. You know, maybe something more like... Yeah! Ooh, 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 ooh. And now, look at this! Dirt! We got dirt right there. So now, oh, buddy, oh, buddy, oh, buddy. Oh, one last thing. We're going to use a clock sensor. Wow. Where am I going to put that? Yo, right here. And then, when we automate that, just like so, this dirt has somewhere to go. Uh-oh. Not all day. There we go. I like it. That's really cool. Oh, and then we could put like some thermal shift plates over here. You know it. Make it rain! Yeah, yeah. And it's in, and it's getting hot, and it's converting over. The last step, though, we are going to have to do some sort of chambering thing. I mean, this here is actually low enough to the point now where... Or I'd say we're just going to release it into a pumping room. Yeah, maybe release it into a pumping room. Or maybe we don't need to do all of that. We could just... Oh, there's so many things we could do. I'm not even close to being done with this tonight. Anyhow, there we go. Automation, and then we say not over here. This is ridiculous. Okay, boom! And that brings in some more natural gas, which is hot. Turns to steam. And then it opens up. Because it's not... What? There we go. Get rid of that not gate. That was not needed. I mean, look at that steam just come pouring out of this thing. Oh no, it's because these died. Oh, hang on, hang on. If I mop that up real quick, deconstruct all of this. No, not all that. Deconstruct the building. And then we do a metal shift plate down here. Sorry, not a metal shift plate. Just a metal tile. Oh, buddy, don't. Liquid everywhere. Oh, 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 make it stop. Make it stop. No! Oh, all the steam that got trapped in the bottom, that's what's going on. Oh, no. My plan is backfiring. Please stop. All right, well, it is far too late, and I'm going to have to call it quits here. But I think we've made some progress, at least with the sort of pre-cooling crude oil system right there. That seems to work pretty good. It's a simple setup. It does bring the temperature of the crude oil up, and it brings the temperature of the natural gas down. And in this arrangement right there, it cuts about half the temperature off, roughly. We're talking about 200-ish, 50-ish degrees Celsius. So that's a pretty good start. After that, converting it over into steam seems to be a good way to go. But then again, it also looks like we have a great potential of actually continuing that if we wanted to heat up oil even more. However, I'm going to have to explore that more in the next video. I'd love to hear your ideas down there in the comment section below. And if I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Have a great day, guys. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.